Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the ReelTok podcast. Firstly, we want to say a massive thank you for your support on the first 2 episodes. It has been phenomenal. Please remember to subscribe on YouTube, turn the notification bell on so you don't miss anything. Letterboxd, we've all got our links in the link tree as well as the Instagram, the Twitter, and of course the TikTok profile. I'm with 3 fantastic gentlemen as always in George, Tyler, and Cam. First of all, gents, how has everyone's week been? Cam, I know you've had quite a exciting one, should I say?
Yeah, I traveled for work. I drank 3 times this week, which is probably 3 more times than I have in the past 9 months due to having a child. So I'm struggling a little bit, but I'm good. I had a long week. Have not watched basically anything, but all good. How are you
in
guys?
Chicago?
I was in Chicago.
First time?
No, I was born in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
I lived there.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I lived in Illinois for 8 years, and then I moved here to Indiana. So yeah, there's a fun fact about me. So I'm pretty familiar, but I hate driving in Chicago every time. I drive a truck. Seth is probably not shocked about that.
Because you own a trucker hat as well. Do you wear it whilst you drive your truck?
No. I just wear it sometimes.
Are trucks even common in the UK?
The Mountain Dew in the front as well.
Are trucks like a common thing in the UK, Seth? Like, do people have trucks, or is that not nearly as common as it is in America?
Yes, people have trucks.
Okay, I feel like it's not nearly at the rate though of America. I feel like America has to have
it. Well, no. It depends what you define. There's a lot of vans here and stuff like that, but people have trucks.
So a van is a van. A truck is a truck. That's how you define it.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, George,
it's just hard driving there with a truck. That's all I was saying.
George went to a wedding last night. How was that?
I did. It was a fun wedding. It was on the water. The venue was very beautiful. The bride and the groom equally as beautiful. It was good. Just got home late, and then thank you guys for pushing up this record in a couple of hours.
It was you.
It was. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying thank you for agreeing for it. But yeah, just a little tired, a little recovering, a little drinking last night. But yeah, it's fun. Slow week all around though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling better this week. Last week, you probably noticed from my voice last week, I wasn't feeling the best. Anyone who's listening, but I'm feeling better. And finally, the main man Tyler, how was your week?
It was good. It's similar to Cam, just busy all week, so didn't get a ton of movie watches in. I usually try to get in 7 to 9 or so for my weekly wrap up on TikTok, but I think I'm only at 4 right now. So
didn't you tick off a few ones that were notable mentions that you missed out, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
No, yeah, it's been a great week of watches. Just hasn't been great quantity wise because I watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, There Will Be Blood. I can't even remember the other ones I watched, but it's been a good week overall. But
what did you give One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
A 5, surely.
Yeah, 5-star. I think I give it a 9.8 out of 10.
Okay. I forgot if you had sent us a wrap up of that one.
But yeah, it was.
What did you give There Will Be Blood as well?
There Will Be Blood was also 5 stars. I haven't I gave it a 5-star because I watched it late last night, but I haven't gone through and gave it my score out of 10 because normally I like to stack it up against other things. But both great movies, and it was eerie with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest because when I watched it, Louise Fletcher, who plays Nurse Ratched, literally found out she passed away minutes after watching it. She obviously gave an incredible performance in that movie.
R.I.P.
So eerie. I saw that tweet and I was like, no way. Right after Tyler says he's watching this movie, did I just look at this tweet?
Yeah, but yeah, she gave it an all-time performance. Great movie. Jack Nicholson, incredible. But nothing needs to be said about him. So but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a few things to go over today, quite a full one. We've had quite a bit of news this week in regards of some upcoming releases. Obviously, Netflix's new event as well, showing what they're releasing in the coming future. But first, we were having a conversation in our group chat the other day, and this is going to ruffle some feathers, I'm sure, with some people. We were talking about Harry Potter versus Star Wars as a franchise. What's better? What makes better films? But first, I want to pass you over to the resident Star Wars defender in Cameron, because I know he has some opinions. We didn't all agree on this, but Cam, what's your opinions?
Okay. I said this. Star Wars has higher highs and lower lows. I think every original trilogy Star Wars is better than. Actually, this is not true. I said this originally, but it's not true. I have Return of the Jedi at an 88 out of 100, and then part 2 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows 89. So not technically true, but relatively close. Every original Star Wars is better or just as good as every Harry Potter. And then I think like every prequel is worse than almost every Harry Potter except Revenge of the Sith. I have higher than a couple of the Harry Potters, but I stand by like Harry Potter is one of the most consistent franchises, but never had an all-time great, incredible, amazing movie. And Star Wars, higher highs, obviously Empire's better than every Harry Potter, and I'll stand by that and fight everyone, especially Tyler, on that. But then, Attack of the Clones is probably worse than every Harry Potter. So that's my opinion.
I said this, like, it is so hard for a franchise to have 8 films. I don't think there's any bad films in Harry Potter. Like, I don't know what everyone else thinks, but Return of the Jedi,
not bad.
It's not bad.
Overrated.
No, it's not bad. I watched it fairly recently, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. I just think it's got a lot of pacing problems. The middle part was just so boring. It's not, but it's still a decent film. Don't get me wrong. But I think there is, like, for me, majority of Harry Potter films actually beat Return of the Jedi, which is probably maybe a hot take. I know Tyler probably agrees with me maybe on that. I don't know what your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I gave Return of the Jedi a 7 out of 10. I'm looking at my overall Harry Potter rankings. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Harry Potters over that. I think Return of the Jedi, I agree with Seth. Like, the ending is great. The third act, great of Return of the Jedi, but the first 2 acts are so slow and so many pacing issues. I feel like they just were hyper fixated on Carrie Fisher as Slave Leia, and they were hyper fixated on all these cool costume design creatures that they had on these other planets. I feel like we didn't get much plot development in the first two-thirds of the movie. The final third kind of packed everything in, which was great. It's still a very good movie. It's not a top 100 movie, though. It's not a top 100 movie.
Weren't the what are they called? The little bear things. What are they called?
Ewoks.
Weren't they just pretty much a marketing piece anyway? Like, they were just brought into the film to produce toys out of them. Yeah, so they could make more money.
Star Wars has a lot of that in general, but
I mean, every film, to be fair. Like, I know, George, you're a big fan of Return of the Jedi and Star Wars, the original trilogy in general. I've seen your ratings of them. But yeah, I know that also Harry Potter is a big fan as well.
Yeah, I mean, if it weren't for Harry Potter and that franchise, I don't think I would have a TikTok today. I don't think I'd be as into film as I was. I also have Deathly Hallows Part 2, Order of the Phoenix, Goblet of Fire, and Prisoner of Azkaban all over Return of the Jedi. And I also have Rogue One over Return of the Jedi. So, like, my ranking of Star Wars and Harry Potter films, Return of the Jedi is sitting at number 8 right now. So I have it a little bit low. And I'm just going to echo what you guys said. It's the consistency for me. It's 8 films that aren't bad. Some of them might not be great, but there's no bad film. Star Wars has Attack of the Clones. Star Wars has Phantom Menace. Star Wars has Solo, which I don't even think is that bad of a movie, but it's still not great. Harry Potter put out 8 films in a decade, and I give all of them above a 3.5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd.
I think about the same. Like, I'm going to say something to annoy Cam here, but I would have over Return of the Jedi.
Isn't that the point of this conversation?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, you guys have succeeded. But we knew that.
I would have over Return of the Jedi, Harry Potter wise. I would have Prisoner of Azkaban. I think that's obvious. I think that's fair. Like, Cam, give me a little. Yeah. I'd have
over Return of the Jedi. I don't have that, but I also don't have Prisoner. I don't like. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's.
You don't have it's the highest one.
No, I definitely Hallows Part 2 as the highest one.
Oh, so I would have definitely Hallows Part 2. I would have Half-Blood Prince. I would have Order of the Phoenix. I would have Goblet of Fire. I would have all of them over Return of the Jedi as a film. Maybe not the first 2. I think that's going a little bit far. And also, I didn't like Deathly Hallows Part 1 that much as well. I think that's the general consensus. Deathly Hallows Part 1 was a little bit boring at times. But like, is there any Harry Potter films, Cam, that you would have over Return of the Jedi?
So I said I only have the one. I have Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Deathly Hallows Part
89 out of 100. So I have my lowest my lowest rated Harry Potter is Chamber of Secrets at a 69 out of 100. Nice.
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 And so I have 4 Star Wars movies lower than that. So I have Solo, as you mentioned, a 60, Phantom Menace a 50, Rise of Skywalker a 48, and Attack of the Clones 40. So I like to think I'm a relatively like level-headed Star Wars fan. I know people like I think it's the best franchise in the sense that like just it's my I think it's my favorite franchise. Sorry, it's not the best. Lord of the Rings is the best. But
my question also, just to back up like Star Wars a little bit here, give a bit of defense. If we're including Harry Potter, does that mean we also include
are you
Beasts films
those suck
in the well this is the thing, isn't it? Like, are we including the Fantastic Beasts films in the Harry Potter franchise? Because technically yes, so then we could also put them against Star Wars as well.
But also when you say that Lord of the Rings is the best series, then when you're extending that, are you adding
I don't say it's the best series. I say it's the best trilogy.
Yeah, I was more pointing at Cam, but if you're adding in the Hobbit to that, could that be the same thing as adding in the Fantastic Beasts?
Going back to it then, Toy Story is the best franchise.
Oh my god. No, but
I don't see a lie there.
It is. I mean, if you include the Hobbits.
What did you say? Work Toy Story into every single episode.
I might.
Did you see the comments to the video we posted on TikTok about Toy Story 4? Like, a lot of people hate that film. I thought it was perfectly
people
fine.
hate it because it's unnecessary. They think it's unnecessary, but they refuse to watch it as just a movie. I stand.
But it's not even a bad film.
It's a good movie. It's a very good movie. As good as Interstellar.
Oh my god! Stop it!
It's not as good as Interstellar.
Speaking of Harry Potter, though, so Harry Potter. I don't know if it was the first franchise to do this. I think it was. It was definitely the one to popularize it, to split the final movie into the part 1 and the part 2. I actually didn't hate how Harry Potter did it. I actually enjoyed part 1 of the Deathly Hallows more than I feel like most people. I really enjoyed the telling of the story of the Deathly Hallows, and obviously part 2 blows part 1 out of the water. But every franchise after that seemed to just really fumble the bag with the whole part 1, part 2 final movie. Like Hunger Games was very bad in my opinion. And I don't know. I feel like Harry Potter did a little disservice to the film community by doing that, because then everyone started copying the part 1, part 2 for their final book of the series or whatever. But I feel like at least how Harry Potter did it, I didn't have a problem with it. I enjoyed both part 1 and part 2.
No, I like them both.
What did you rate it? Because I think I gave it like a 3.5. I still think it's a decent film. Don't get me wrong.
I gave it a 7.1 for part 1.
I give it 78 out of 100.
See, this is where having 4 of us on a podcast is good. I disagree with that completely. I don't think we needed a part 1 and part 2.
Really? I don't think we needed it.
They split up Deathly Hallows into 2 movies and gave us 2 2-hour movies. And admittedly, part 1 drags a bit. If they had cut out a chunk of part 1, given us 1 3-hour movie, I don't think anyone would have complained.
I have a question for you then, George.
I agree.
Do you think so? I don't think they could have made part 2 as good as it was if they combined into a 3-hour movie. I think because then I think it drags part 2 down.
Why?
Just because it makes it too long, and then all the boring stuff is included in that movie. So I think people would hold it at a lower place.
Okay.
And without the setup of the first one as well. I kind of agree with Cam. I think without that setup of the first one, yes, it was boring at times, but it did do a good job in setting up the first part 1 and part 2. Part 2 is always going to be better because it's the final conclusion. So without the part 1 there, like, there wouldn't have been that initial setup, and you wouldn't have anything to compare it to.
I can see where you're both coming from. I can see what George is saying and what Cam and Seth are saying, but the thing with part 2 is Harry Potter had that just decade run of those 7 movies build up, and then part 2, just right when it starts, it's go time. And that's why part 2, I just think is so peak, is just because you have all these years of build up, all these movies, and then part 2, there's no preamble, there's no build up. It's like right when the movie starts, it hits the gas pedal and does not stop for 2 hours until it resolves.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree. I just rewatched Goblet of Fire all the way through Deathly Hallows Part 2, and
I think I've rewatched.
You were on one.
Oh my god,
I've rewatched
such good movies. It's unbelievable.
Goblet of Fire, I think, is like my most rewatched one. It's so fun.
Okay,
Goblet of Fire is such a fun film.
I don't get what they hate for Goblet of Fire. I know a lot of people say Prisoner of Azkaban is where Harry Potter took a dark turn, but like it's Goblet of Fire for me. That's where our characters like really matured and like turned into adults.
Can I say where I have Goblet of Fire and out of the 8?
Here we go. 7.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have 3.
I have it third.
Now, I
have
have not watched the Harry Potters in. When did HBO Max drop? 3 years ago?
3 years ago.
2 years ago. It was quarantine.
Really?
So I have not watched them since then. And I'm not a Harry Potter guy. I like it a lot, and I think the universe they build is very good. But like,
And you
I haven't.
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, well, she sucks. So
She does. So, final conclusion. So I want an answer from all of you.
Harry Potter.
Star Wars.
Wait.
Harry Potter.
sorry. Actually, did we decide, are we including Fantastic Beasts?
I'm not.
Okay, if we're
let's
not,
say
that's
no.
fine.
Let's say
No, that's fine. We don't have to, because they are 2 separate universes, except this last one.
It wouldn't change your mind anyway.
No, but obviously I'm Star Wars, but I do have Crimes of Grindelwald lower than Attack of the Clones. I think that movie's ass. I have it at 34 out of 100.
I would go
a lower
Harry
low.
Potter. But George, Tyler, what are you saying?
Yeah, I mean, if I were to rank the greatest franchises of all time, I think I'm going to be putting Harry Potter above Star Wars.
Me as well.
But just for the sheer consistency and the fact that there's not one bad movie.
Yep. Echo that.
That's watching Cam's face, right?
I mean, I'm Star Wars, so that I don't need to like.
It's preference.
I stand by like.
No, bro.
It's a higher high, and the original trilogy is just as consistent to a better point, I think. But
okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay, so we wanted to do something a little bit different and add a little segment in regards to what actually happened on this day in film history. Now, I'm going to be honest. We all know I am UK based, and a lot of these are very American. So I'm going to pass it over to our to George, who came up with this idea. If you want to go through some of the ones that happened.
Yeah. So I think, again, sorry, Seth, and everyone in the UK, the first 3 are very US centric.
The 4th one's good.
Yeah. And also my intention with this little segment is not to have like a massive conversation. It's just a fun little
run through.
30-second run through. And for everyone wondering, we are recording on a Sunday. Episode drops on a Monday. So we are going to do these for the Monday. So on this day, which is Monday, the 26th, in 1949, the groundbreaking ceremony for Hollywood sign in Hollywood, Los Angeles. The old Hollywood sign was torn down and replaced, or construction of the replacement began in 1949. And then some American television, 1962, the comedy series Beverly Hillbillies premieres on CBS.
I don't even know what that is. No idea.
That one's not as egregious as the.
No, this next one is more egregious. In 1969, the sitcom The Brady Bunch premieres on ABC in the US, which Seth probably also does not know.
I know it. I know the name, but I have no idea what it is.
That's fair.
Absolutely no idea. I know it though.
I appreciate that you at least know it.
I'm not completely oblivious to the US culture. I know it, but
then in one more in 2006, the New York City premiere of the eventual Best Picture winning picture, The Departed, starring DiCaprio, Matt Damon, and Mark Wahlberg, premiered in New York City.
How you haven't mentioned Jack Nicholson there, I do not know.
Jack Nicholson as well.
I caught that too.
Offended.
I am so sorry.
You're fine.
There's a lot of notes, man.
Arguably one of the best cast movies ever, I think, and one of the most entertaining films ever in The Departed.
That's got to be up there as one of the best ensembles in if we're not including like the Avengers films and like all the superhero. That's got to be just one of the best ensembles of casts I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just incredibly entertaining.
And they're all just like some of the best. Like you think like when you think ensemble, maybe not in an Avengers, maybe you think a Wes Anderson kind of thing, like the Grand Budapest.
Oh, Grand Budapest, yeah.
I forget exactly who's in there. Like I'd almost say Saoirse Ronan is probably up there, but like none of them are like up there with Leo, Matt Damon,
Ralph
Fiennes.
Ray
I thought
it was Ralph.
It's Ralph.
No,
Ralph.
It's not pronounced Ralph.
It's spelled Ralph, but pronounced like I thought it was like Rafe.
It's pronounced like Ray Fiennes.
Yeah,
that's so.
Us UK people.
I'm just gonna call him Voldemort now.
Yeah, he's probably quite up there in regards of.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
if you think about some of the, but I know what you mean. Like that is like an ensemble of like actors who are that top tier.
The big
Mark
short.
Wahlberg.
The Big Short. The Big
That's
Short.
a
That's a
fucking
good
cast right there.
one. A lot of people don't like that film. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, those people are idiots.
So we got a few trailers this week.
I'm
We
sorry.
got a few trailers this week. One was for the new Hellraiser film, which, can I just say, I did a TikTok about this the other day. This is the 13th fucking Hellraiser film. The third. I don't know if you guys have seen them.
I've never seen any.
I've seen the first one, and I am sorry. I got so much hate for this. It is on the verge of so bad it's good. It is pretty awful for the most part. The first act was intriguing. It was good. I get it. It's 80s. George, for example, you know how you say that the thing, the effects are
It just doesn't hold up.
Watch Hellraiser. It's and the fact that they've made it's like the Halloween series. So many horror franchises do this where they just rinse as much as they can because they have this iconic villain. And 13 films. 13.
It's worse than Halloween.
To add to that, two films have a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, have you looked at the Letterboxd rankings as well? I think everyone after the first has under a 2 or something like that. Like, it's so bad, and they just keep making them.
It's impressive.
It is impressive, yeah.
But Seth, you said it perfectly. It's one of those things where they're just going to keep milking this iconic character because they know horror people are going to keep watching.
They're going to keep watching them, yeah. Because the Halloween ones still make a decent amount of money, don't they? Like, they still do really well. I think the new one's coming out in. Someone help me out here. October, yeah.
October.
And like they've how many Halloween films have there been now? Maybe
this is gonna be what, the 7?
I think
no,
7th or 8th.
No, I was gonna say like more. It's more. It's like
I
think it's like
this
it's
has
gotta
to be like 13
10.
or 14.
Really?
I was gonna say 17th, but I think that's too much. Hold on, I have my Halloween ranking right here.
It's You've seen them all.
I've seen them all. Yeah, this is gonna be the 13th.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. I thought it was less than that. I have not seen all.
The horror genre notoriously is known for being able to be huge margins on return. Like, even if you make just a terrible horror movie, they're almost always profitable. At least they have a higher success rate of being profitable than almost any other genre. You can make them pretty low budget and make your money back because there's so many cult horror following fans. So keep cranking them out, I guess.
Especially
I will say though, to bring some light into this, cynical conversation about a shitty franchise, they are bringing in David Bruckner to direct this, and this is also this isn't a sequel. This isn't a sequel to anything. This is a direct reboot of the original Hellraiser. David Bruckner has done The Ritual and Night House, 2 movies that have come out in the last like 5 or 6 years. If you haven't seen them, you should. They are very quality horror films.
I liked The Ritual. I don't think Cam liked it.
Say that again. I'm so sorry. What did I watch?
The
Ritual.
No, I've never seen The Ritual.
There's no way.
I thought you'd have seen it. I was gonna say there's no.
I've seen a good amount of horror actually, like as we digest it, but no, I haven't seen.
Yeah. I thought The Ritual was pretty capable. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Like, they're bringing in someone who like actually knows horror and can actually competently make a film.
A decent job with it. Yeah.
So.
I just think 13. But it's like Tyler said. They've all. These ones that came out in like the 80s, whatever, they've got like this cult following. They'll have that original fan base. The Hellraiser, Pinhead, iconic. I just don't get it. But like Tyler said, it will make money. Another one we want to go over is the Disney animation.
One more thing. Like Cam said last week, every film is unnecessary, so no film is really necessary.
I guess so.
Because we don't.
If they're making money on it, then fair play. They just keep doing it, aren't they?
I'm sorry to keep us on this. Did you guys know Scott Derrickson directed one of these? He directed the fifth Hellraiser.
Yes.
And also another point, this was for my own interest. There have been more Halloween movies just straight named Halloween than there have been Hellraisers just straight named Hellraiser, which I was shocked about. I thought at least once during this Hellraiser franchise they would just say, go back to Hellraiser. No,
just simplify it.
They gave a name for every single one except this next one that's coming out.
I'm gonna watch every single movie in this Hellraiser franchise.
Apparently, some of them are like when I did a video. Apparently, some of them are like just
Rick Boda.
So
Rick
bad.
Boda got a trilogy from 2002 to 2005. He directed all 3 of them. Actually, 2 of them came out in 2005.
Jesus. All right, let's move on.
I'm sorry. This is so
intriguing. There'll be these Hellraiser fans who will be upset with this segment. I guarantee it. And next one we got is obviously Strange World, the new Disney animation starring Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm really intrigued and quite excited by this one. I don't know what everyone else thinks. George, I believe I heard you say that you were quite looking forward to this.
I'm so excited for this. This seems so. I saw the trailer to this movie on a Dolby screen for the first time, and I think that just kind of enhanced my anticipation of this film.
Yeah,
It looks like this just massive, like beautifully rendered science fiction Walt Disney masterclass. I'm pretty sure this is Walt Disney's like 61st film, so they know what they're fucking doing. Sorry for cursing. And
I don't think we have to apologize for it anymore. I think people just accept it now.
And so they're bringing in Don Hall, who's kind of like a Walt Disney legend. He did Raya and the Last Dragon, nominated for an Oscar. He did Big Hero 6, won an Oscar. He's wrote
Great film.
What has he written? He's wrote Moana. He's written Meet the Robinsons. I think he's also done the Winnie the Pooh movie. So again, yes, Cam is a big fan of Moana.
Wait, Meet the Robinsons, by the way, incredibly underrated animation. Meet the Robinsons is great.
Yeah, so it's from now until the end of the year. This has to be my most anticipated animated film. All things considered, I don't know too many animated films that are dropping from now until the end of the year, but Strange World just looks like something I'm going to wildly enjoy.
Yeah. Anyone else got anything to say about that?
Yeah, the trailer looked good because I feel like it felt so different than what we typically see from Disney and Pixar. I'm expecting a nice breath of fresh air here. Dazzling visuals, huge world, a lot they can run with. One thing that was like weird for me, which I think I just have to adapt to because I've seen so many Jake Gyllenhaal films and love Jake Gyllenhaal, is seeing him in voice acting. It wasn't just very natural for me. When I was listening to the person talking in the trailer with a Jake Gyllenhaal voice, I was like, it's interesting to hear Gyllenhaal in this role. I don't know if he's done voice acting before. I don't think he has.
I think this might be his first voice acting role, to be honest.
So that'll be a little that'll take a little adapting to for me, but the movie itself looks like a huge breath of fresh air from a Disney film and looks very exciting and epic, like George was saying from the trailer.
Yeah, when that trailer played and like the mountain started walking,
it looks great.
Like, I'm gonna love this movie.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I'm gonna take a shot in the dark and say it makes me tear up. I feel like at this point Disney just has a
chokehold.
Yeah, they know how to just make you sad at a point, and then I'll tear up.
Oh, I mean, yeah, there's a father-son dynamic. The father-son dynamic, and you just know there's gonna be something that's gonna rip your heart out with that.
You know, the father is gonna like sacrifice himself for something.
Yeah.
Yo, Cam, it's gonna be very Interstellar-esque, I hear.
Oh, yippee! Hell yeah, man.
Well, I kind of going off that. I know it was a joke, but going off that, I'm hoping it's not Lightyear-esque because there is a little flashes of Lightyear where they go to kind of a new world and are exploring. And I was just like, I think Lightyear just scarred me that it was just giving me flashbacks. I'd be sitting in the theater with my girlfriend, being like talking to each other, like, I'm so bored right now. Like, can we leave?
Am I the only one here that gave Lightyear a positive review?
I do. It's not a bad movie. Yeah. It's a 79 out of 100 for me.
I guess I just had too high of expectations.
What did you give it?
I give it a 3.5 out of 5. So I probably go like a 70, 75.
Okay, I have it higher than that. Like it looks great. It's another great Pixar animation. And again, it makes me cry at a point. You know, it deals with that shit. They know how to write these characters. I mean,
I hated it. They were so incompetent and just kept being incompetent over and over.
Yeah, like, I guess. I don't know. I mean, maybe
Tyler, since we've become friends and started doing this podcast, I think you're one of the most critical movie goers out there.
You are definitely. He definitely is.
And I don't say that in a bad way at all.
I don't purposely just try to be an asshole. It's just I feel like I'm just nitpicky. And if you think I'm nitpicky, you should see my girlfriend. We'll watch a movie. I'm like, that was really good. And she was like, that's shit. Like, I'm like, what?
There are certain movies where like I watch and I just like to take like my critic TikToker hat off.
It's hard though, isn't it?
It is hard, but I think like Lightyear is just one of those movies like I really wanted to like love, and like I didn't love it, but like I'm happy I still came out of it enjoying it a little bit.
I'm happy for you.
But it has its flaws. There's no doubt.
Okay, so the next thing we got is obviously what released this week is the new M. Night film, Knock at the Cabin. He's a strange director because he's done a film I would consider to be a quite high tier of thriller and horror. I know, George, you don't agree, but I think The Sixth Sense is pretty great.
No, I do agree.
Was it not you? Didn't say it was right. What did you rate it?
I think Split is M. Night's best movie, and then I have The Sixth Sense at a 3.5 out of 5
Oh no,
stars.
I have it like 4.5. That's what I mean.
Okay, I don't mind. Like people forget that M. Night was literally nominated for this movie for Best Director and Best Original Screenplay. Like I don't think it's a bad film by any means.
Yeah, he's done like obviously Split, but then he's also done After
Last
Earth,
Airbender.
Last Airbender. I haven't seen that, and I don't really want to watch that, to be honest.
I forgot After Earth was him. I really did.
Wow, many bad films.
But
he has 3 movies in my bottom 10
that are like the bottom tier of film. Like
he really got an Oscar nomination and then decided to just stop being good at what he does.
Yeah. Tyler, any opinions?
Yeah, well, the thing I don't know if it's a positive trait. It's just an interesting trait, I guess, about M. Night Shyamalan is more so than any director, maybe in history, I feel like you put 10 people in a room, make them watch all the movies and rank them best to worst, you'll get the most different rankings from everyone. So at least that's interesting. He takes risks and people interpret it differently. I know some people that actually really enjoy After Earth. Last year's Old was one of those movies that's not good. I rated it like 2 out of 5 stars, 2.5. So didn't rate it good, but I enjoyed my time in the theater. Like I was intrigued by it. The ending, I was like, oh, this is all stupid, but I enjoyed my time with it at least.
He makes films. I think also Cam said this the other day when we were speaking. He makes films that are always going to intrigue you, and you're just going to watch them because they just look so weird and intriguing. Maybe some of them have been really bad, but I get why people enjoy them at the same time.
Right.
He's an odd director.
Like I'm on Letterboxd right now, and I'm looking at The Happening. Just like the first 20 scores: 2.5, 4.5, 5, half, 1, 4.5, 5, 2.5.
Polarizing.
Like,
it's the same with all his films. It's the same with all.
And then
films.
like you even, and sorry if you're listening, but you even like look at this and like just look at this like tally here of just like all over the fuck. I'm just like all over the place ratings. It's some people think he's like campy to the point where he's like a good filmmaker. Some people think he's just like disrespectfully bad and people need to stop giving him scripts.
It is a hard one.
I will say someone brought to my attention that the screenplay for Knock at the Cabin is being written by 2 other people, with M. Night kind of being a co-writer / advisor. So that gives me a little bit of hope that at least the screenplay is going to be in competent hands. But M. Night's direction,
stars. Go on, George. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say it's M. Night, so we can either expect above average movie or one of the worst movies we've ever seen.
A piece of shit. Yeah.
Did you guys,
go on, Cam.
Did you guys like Signs? That's like the best. That's what I think his best is, but I haven't seen The Sixth Sense.
I give it like a 3.5. I think Signs is a good film. I like Signs.
Signs kind of scarred me as a kid, honestly.
Seth, you should watch, and no disrespect to Cam and Tyler, but it's a horror movie, so I'm going to direct it to Seth. You should watch The Visit, the found footage film.
I've seen The Visit. The one where the
2 grandkids.
I won't say anything, but yeah. I really liked that.
I liked it. I watched that for the first time like 2 weeks ago, and I was genuinely like shocked at how much I enjoyed it.
He did The Village as well, didn't he?
He did. That's one I've never seen. The Village.
This is the thing. Like some people love The Village. Some people think it's a really great horror. It's just so many. I mean, it stars. This film stars like Rupert Grint, which obviously we know primarily as being Ron Weasley. Dave Bautista. I like him as. I mean, everyone knows I'm going through the MCU films, and I think he's absolutely hilarious as Drax. I think he's criminally it's funny, but who knows how he's going to be in a film like this.
I'm interested to see like where he's going next, because obviously he's done as Drax. I don't think he wants to be Drax anymore, so obviously he's done. But like he's going to be in the next Knives Out, Glass Onion. I'm interested to see like where his career takes him, because what is it? He's some sort of babysitter in some movie.
Did you watch Stuber?
That movie's. Oh no, yeah, that's not a bit. I'm not thinking of the right thing.
I know exactly. I can see the cover.
He's with Kumail.
I can see it.
Right?
Yeah.
Not a good movie, I don't think. And I don't think he's good in it. But
I don't think. And obviously, this comment is being based off of just one trailer that we got, which I also waited up to midnight to watch because I wanted to.
That's what M. Night does. That's his thing. Like you are.
I stayed up till midnight for a director I don't even love, but I think Dave Bautista is going to be really good in this role because it doesn't look like he needs to take himself too seriously. Like he's playing like this smug, like nerdy guy with glasses. Like it looks like more of a campy role rather than like a role he's like trying to get a fucking Oscar nomination for.
Yeah. I think we'll have to wait.
He's not a bad actor.
He's not. He falls into the category of like Ryan Reynolds or like The Rock, who just like
Harry Styles.
Yeah,
Ryan Reynolds is better, but
no, I'm just saying,
like,
they know what they're good at and they stick to it. Like Ryan Reynolds is never going after an Oscar potential role. Like he's sticking to his Free Guy type roles.
No,
and he's just running
not like Free Guy. I did not
really?
like that film.
I liked Free Guy.
I like
it. Really, yeah. So next up we got obviously. Well, I'll pass this on to one of you because I haven't seen it. But John Bernthal, rumored to be returning as the Punisher in Daredevil. I know I spoke to Anna about this, and she was really excited about this. Any of you want to make a
resident MCU defender here? So
yeah,
how's it going, everyone? I'm excited for this. I had a video a while back. You know, like my top 10 favorite actors. Like John Bernthal's on that list. I love him.
He's great. He's great.
He's so, like, everyone who likes him appreciates him a good amount, but it feels like he's so underappreciated because he's just so damn good as the side character and not like he's not a main character in 90% of the things he's in. He doesn't carry a movie, but he's so good every time as a supporting character. I fucking love him. This was great right here, George. I know you're concerned about them going lighthearted. Daredevil, I think they can. John Bernthal as the Punisher is tough. That's going to be tough. And I don't like that show a whole lot. And I don't think season 2 is as nearly as good as 1 and 3 of Daredevil. And that's not on him by any means. But it's going to be tough to go lighthearted. Again, I don't think they're going to go lighthearted, but until we see it, you have to have a little bit of worry. I know you're worried, George. So
well, one, I don't disagree with you in that. Like, I don't think Daredevil. I don't think The Punisher is like that fantastic of a television show. I don't think it even compares to Daredevil. A while ago, I posted a video on TikTok, the top 10 best superhero movie castings, and he had fallen in the top 15. He was very close to being in the top 10 as the Punisher. I think he is just perfect for this role. I'd love to see him return. I am holding my breath though, because it is just rumors. There's nothing. No one's even said anything. I think it's just like something floating around Comic Talk right now. Maybe someone heard something grapevine, but yeah, if he comes back and he cracks one joke, I'll never watch an MCU movie again.
Tyler, and I thought of this like throughout the week. You asked this last week, like, is it disingenuous for Marvel to bring these characters back just because people are going to want to watch them? And I thought about it. Yeah, like it is for money. They're going to make money off it. But also when I think it's different for Charlie Cox as well as John Bernthal, Vincent D'Onofrio. I think it's different for them in the sense that they really wanted to play these characters and their shows got canceled. Like Marvel didn't want to make these Netflix shows anymore. It was something to do with when the Fox deal was going on. Marvel's bringing everyone back. They're going to get, I guarantee, maybe not Spider-Man, because Spider-Man makes a shitload of money for Sony. They might never give them back, but they're allegedly getting back the Hulk rights to make a solo movie. Like they're bringing everyone back in. And so this, like, I think is good because these people want to come back as these characters. This is rather than like, I don't know, Michael Keaton coming back as Batman and not knowing shit as Batman. Like he's like, I don't know what's going on in this movie. I don't think he actually like loves this character. Like Charlie Cox, when you hear him interview, like he really loves Daredevil. Maybe John Bernthal doesn't care for the Punisher as much, but Charlie Cox really does love the Daredevil character.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because last week when I brought that up, saying, is it disingenuous for them to bring back a character just to hold them as candy in front of people to be like, hey, come watch our stuff, or bringing back characters you love. It's funny that like right after that happened, I don't think any of us are watching She-Hulk anymore, but
I am. Okay, fun fact, that's the only show I watched this week.
I'm still watching it.
I haven't seen Andor.
Okay.
I'm still watching Andor.
Well, like a week ago, or the biggest news that I saw on Comic Talk was that Daredevil keeps getting teased. He's coming in, he still hasn't. I feel like so many people are watching it just to see Daredevil. I feel like that plays right into our conversation. Like they kind of just take these characters that everyone loves, puts them into projects maybe people aren't excited about, and then say like, here, he's gonna come, and then before you know it, you're at the end credits of the final episode of the first season, then you're like, oh, here he is.
I'll say this. They did, this might piss you guys off, but they did make a joke like, oh, this is a filler episode. It's a wedding. It's bad timing. I don't know. That kind of made me laugh because, again, it did piss people off. And, pissing people off is funny to me. So like, the more people that get mad, the more I sit back and just watch the fire blaze.
But yeah,
I get that.
Going back to John Bernthal, agree with what you said, Cam. Just such a great supporting role. Like, he's very sparingly used in both Sicario and Wind River, but when he's on screen in those movies, he makes such an impact in those minutes he's given.
I hated him.
God,
in every
his
role.
scene in Wind River.
Horrible.
It's one of those scenes where it's like it's so perfectly crafted, but it's so hard to watch.
Yeah, brutal.
He was so bad. He was so horrible in Fury as well. Like, he plays that role so well. Like, he is a great actor.
More on him if we're just gonna name great roles he's in. Ford v Ferrari, so damn good. Wolf of Wall Street. He's just he's just a thug that's beating people up. Awesome. Shoot, I had one more that I can't think of now, but he's just great. Like you said, he's so good in that supporting role.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this in the I believe the first episode. You were speaking about the director for the new Fantastic Four film. Obviously, we got the writers in now, Jeff Kaplan and Ian Springer. I personally don't know too much about these guys. I don't know if any of you do.
There's nothing to know. That's why when we brought this up in the group chat, Cam's like, "Why are we mad about this?" And we said to save this for the podcast. It's because Marvel has made an interesting decision to bring in two writers with essentially no film credits to write what I consider to be one of the most important MCU films of phases, the rest of phase 4, 5, and 6. These are the Fantastic Fours, some of the most lovable comic books, some of the most lovable characters. And now they're bringing in two people who have essentially no writing experience in comics to write this movie.
Question. What's the movie that has someone that's attached to write it who wrote Cloverfield Paradox and people are freaking out about it? It's a big comic book movie, I think. I gotta just look up Cloverfield.
Oh God.
Paradox.
Whatever movie that is not gonna be good.
No, well, so that's my question. What did he
Man, while Cam looks this up, I have just one more quick thing to say about this. So a lot of people are excited about bringing in two basically novice, brand new writers to write the Fantastic Four for the simple reason that it may not fall into the MCU formula. Maybe it's their brand new perspective on comic books, because Fantastic Four is also not going to be an origin story. And that's a decision I love. I've made TikTok videos about it. I think that's a brilliant decision. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions floating around. We need more information on the movie. But just bringing in two novice writers to write one of the most anticipated Marvel films ever is a very interesting choice by Kevin Feige.
So I found it. Sorry. So Julius Ono was the director of Cloverfield Paradox. He's now directing Captain America: New World Order. I just want to, this can be an open-ended question for anyone. Would it scare you more for someone who's written or directed a shit movie to come onto one of these projects? Or does it scare you more for a new writer or director who doesn't have?
That's a good question.
What would scare you more? Because I don't know. I'm all about giving them a chance. Why not? They like you said, they've probably written good things. I'm sure, like small screenplays, plays, things like that. I'm sure they've written good things, and they're not just like, hey,
completely new to the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'd say I'm more worried maybe about Captain America: New World Order, but who knows? So what's your guys' opinion on that?
I think I'd rather go with a director who's produced bad stuff before than a new one, but it could go either way. They're both crapshoots, but I just feel like experience, whether it's good or bad, is experience in the film industry, writing blockbuster movies. Cloverfield Paradox wasn't really a blockbuster, but it's a movie a lot of people were excited for and a lot of people saw. So it's not just some indie movie that no one really heard about. And I feel like just getting that experience, no matter what it is, can be very pivotal. But again, it's not like one's massively going to be more likely to succeed over the other. I'm nervous about it, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think either way, it's going to be interesting. I'm nervous about both films. Tyler, you saying experience, even if it's bad, is still experience. That reminded me of when Thanos said to Loki, "Do you consider failure experience?" And that was just the first thing that I thought of when you said that. But I'm actually going to be the opposite of you. Believe it or not, I would prefer two novice writers with no experience rather than someone who I know has directed shit. Just because
I've never seen.
Why not? Just give them a chance. I did some research in preparation for this one conversation. So this is going to be pretty much the first time that Marvel brings in two essentially no-name writers to write a movie. The only other time it has somewhat happened is when they brought in Nicole Perlman to write Guardians of the Galaxy, in which she co-wrote it with James Gunn.
Yeah.
So she wasn't on her own. So
which is a good screenplay.
Yeah, just based on like Marvel's history, it's an interesting decision. I'm not mad about the decision. It's just interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we best run through this. So we've got obviously the Netflix TUDUM event, which is some news from that. So thanks, Cam. And we're going to run through, obviously, Enola Holmes 2 is releasing November the 4th. I don't know if I didn't actually watch the first one. I don't know if any of you guys did.
I did.
Not very good.
I watched it. I liked it.
I think I have it at a 3 out of 5 stars. I think it's one of those films where maybe I watched it while I was working one day, so maybe I just wasn't paying too much attention. I also think I expected way more Henry Cavill than I got.
Yeah, so we got obviously Wednesday Addams, the first look at that starring Jenna Ortega, who's been doing quite a few roles recently. She's also a confirmed cast member in Miller's Girl, which is a dark coming of age film, directorial debut, Jade Halle Bartlett, and it also features Martin Freeman as well. And she's also obviously done Fallout, Scream, X. Where do we think she goes next? She's doing really well at the moment. Wednesday looks pretty interesting. I don't know what you guys think about that so far.
Yeah, I mean, she's only 19 and she's having a better year than like anyone on the women's side, because not only is she like in a lot of movies, she like the Fallout. I wouldn't be mad if she got an Oscar nomination for a supporting role. I think she was fucking fantastic. She made me cry. Obviously, she had a small role in Scream, still did a great job. And then X is where I think she just kind of showed us that she's capable of a crazy range of emotions. So she is slowly climbing my rank of like my most like actresses under 25, I guess, that I'm going to be paying attention to.
Yeah, I think I first got introduced to her in You season 2, which we'll go on to in a second. But
yeah,
I think she was really good in that as well. And I think like she's getting these roles because she's great, and especially at 19, I think it's someone everyone's got to look out for. But yeah, I mean, like in terms of the coming of age film, that was pretty good as well. Obviously, Del Toro's stop motion Pinnochio is coming out. Obviously, we got a Pinocchio film a few weeks ago.
One more thing on Wednesday, which I actually found out yesterday. Danny Elfman is composing it, which is kind of wild. Okay. Spider-Man, Men in Black, Mission Impossible, Batman. I thought that was a very interesting tidbit that I found out. Yeah, I didn't know that until last night, and I was kind of like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
Also, you didn't mention it, but the Nightmare on Elm Street,
Corpse Bride as well.
Christmas. But yeah, that's his best, in my opinion.
That is great, to be fair. But yeah, so we got the Pinocchio film a few weeks ago, which I tried to watch, and it was terrible. I think I lasted about 50 minutes.
Dreadful.
But this stop motion Pinocchio, I'm quite excited for. I don't know what you guys think. I really like him as a director. I mean, are any of you particularly excited for this, or are you not really expecting too much?
I mean, with the name Guillermo del Toro attached, you're going to pay attention to it a lot.
You're
going
to pay attention.
The Disney Plus Pinocchio. And it literally cannot be worse than the Disney Plus Pinocchio.
It would be a big achievement if it was worse than that. It would be a massive achievement.
I'm excited for it. I mean, how can you not be? It's Guillermo del Toro, and you just had one of the worst Pinocchio. So if you're a big Pinocchio fan, you're going to get redemption arc time.
Am I crazy to say like Pinocchio is bad, but not like the worst thing ever? I have it at like 26 out of 100. Like it's not. It's not. I don't know if it's as bad as you guys. I think you can get worse from here. I have a lot of movies that are getting worse from there, and I don't love Guillermo del Toro, to be honest with you. Like I think he's very good, but I don't love Pan's Labyrinth. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Okay. Seth can yell at me. Feel free.
No, I think he's one of those directors that like his style is kind of polarizing again. But Pan's Labyrinth incredible film. I do love that.
Guillermo del Toro is one of those filmmakers where I can watch hours upon hours of behind the scenes footage.
Yeah.
Because watching this man like craft the movie is just like watching someone fall in love because of how much he just genuinely enjoys making film. And then just on top of like him, Ewan McGregor, Christoph Waltz, Tilda Swinton, Ron Perlman, Cate Blanchett, John Turturro, Philip Wolfhard. That's a ridiculous cast for a Pinnochio movie.
Yeah, the cast is great. The cast is really good.
Does anyone give a shit about the Pinocchio story though? Like,
No.
Are you? So
I don't really care about the story. No.
We're more interested that it's Guillermo del Toro with an insane cast. But like,
if his name wasn't attached to a stop motion Pinocchio, I don't know if I'd be that interested. To be honest, it is just like Tyler said.
It's also the fact that it's a stop motion animation.
Yeah,
just the fact, like, I want to see like how beautiful is he going to craft a stop motion Pinocchio story.
Yeah, I think definitely. But yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to. I'm not like crazy optimistic, but with his name attached, I think it'll be a pretty interesting story. Intergalactic with Kid Cudi, first look. Did anyone have a look at that? Get a chance to gather their thoughts about that one?
Saw that trailer.
Looks pretty.
Good.
Yeah, looks good.
See.
I'll flex real quick. I'm going to the premiere on Wednesday.
Yeah. I didn't know if you were telling people that, but hell yeah.
He's got it out there. So. You season 4. Part 1 premieres February the 10th. So You was one of those things I really liked. I don't think the most recent season was as good as the first two, but I think it's a really, really solid show, and I'm definitely looking forward to season 4. I don't know what you guys think.
Tyler and George haven't seen it because I asked the other day, but it's one of those shows. Like, I agree with you, Seth. I really like it, but every time I watch a season, I'm like, this could have stopped. Like, so like way back at season 1. Actually, and here's what I'll say. Love Quinn, who she played by. It's so much more interesting than Joe Goldberg. They should have killed him.
Yeah, I agree. We said him.
He's the actor. Victoria Pedretti.
Who was great. She was great.
So good. And she's in Haunting of Hill House, which George believes is.
I love her in Hill House.
She's so good and so much more interesting than Joe. I think they should have killed Joe and went with her.
Just before we move on from this segment, can you both please watch it? Because You's really good, man. Like
the first season's really good.
Well, Cam just spoiled it for me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Also, more to talk. Like, what's your opinion on the part 1, part 2 that like Netflix has been doing? Because why is this show getting a part 1 , part 2? That's
I thought that. Yeah,
like Stranger Things did. It's kind of odd. That's
and Ozark too.
And Ozark. Yeah.
Well, I've heard rumors. I don't know if anything's official that Netflix is going to start going more towards the weekly episode releases. So maybe this part 1, part 2 is just their slow transgression from going from all at once to eventually being once a week episodes. So,
I mean, to quickly touch on that, obviously, I don't think we spoke on this in the previous podcast, but I like that idea. I'm kind of for that. I mean, George, I know you are.
I love the weekly episodes. I think a weekly episode is so incredible because think of the House of Dragons. House of Dragons, we watch it every Sunday night collectively, as a whole wide world is watching House of the Dragon on a Sunday night. Then we all
speak about it at the same time.
Exactly. We all have just a week to digest what we watched, to talk about it. We're all on the same page because we're all watching the same released episode. It's not like House of the Dragon drops 10 episodes. Maybe I watch 3 right away. Cam kills the season in one day. Tyler takes a little more time. Seth, whatever. We're all watching this one show every Sunday. We have something to look forward to next Sunday, which kind of makes my life sound boring that I'm just looking forward to a TV show. But I love it. I love the weekly episodes. I want to stop these dropping 10 episodes at a time. It's just, I think it kills the excitement.
I agree.
I wish studios would pick and choose. Like, I wish Netflix wasn't always dropping all the time.
Always one or the other.
Yeah, and then HBO Max is always every week. Because I've said it before. I think, and we don't have to get into it. I think people would care more about She-Hulk if maybe the first 5 episodes were dropped at once. Because I don't want to watch a sitcom week to week. There's nothing like in a sitcom that keeps you invested. Like, I binge watch The Office. I binge watch Parks and Rec, Friends, like things like that. I don't want to sit there week to week. And I know when they were coming out, they did. So maybe it's just like me being a younger person. But like,
I agree with you. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like House of the Dragon keeps you there every week. Lord of the Rings show keeps you there. But like, a sitcom doesn't really. I barely not barely. I think Ted Lasso is one of the best shows ever. But like I hang on for Ted Lasso just because I love that show so much. If I didn't care for that show as much as I do, I wouldn't want to watch it week to week.
Yeah, and just think about Stranger Things, like how crazy that would have been for TikTok and the discourse if it was coming out weekly. And I was stressed when Stranger Things came out because I was like because my girlfriend and I were watching together, like, we like don't have a choice. We have to sit down and binge this because we are going to get everything spoiled for us if we don't see the entire season by like tomorrow.
I agree.
So it's just like too much. I like, give me the weekly.
I think it helps in terms of like us, just in terms of creating content as well, doesn't it? Massively, because we all work. Unfortunately, social media isn't our jobs, and we often don't have the time to watch a full season in a day. And then before you know it, we're reviewing episode 1, but someone else is reviewing the full season. So if we all get it at the same time, we can all, like George says, collect our thoughts, give our thoughts on it. So yeah, I think we're all for it. But I agree with Cam. I think there's certain circumstances where it can be changed. Obviously, The Witcher. I actually didn't watch The Witcher. I've heard really great things about it. I don't know if any of you guys watched the first 2 seasons.
I did. Yeah, I think it's a really, really solid show. I enjoyed it. I think Henry Cavill is fantastic in this role. I think the whole aesthetic of the show is very, I don't want to say Game of Thronesy, but it's for sure not like Lord of the Ringsy, where it feels clean. Like it's a very dirty, raw show. The action set pieces and sequences are fantastic. There's immediately in like the ending of season 1, episode 1, there's just like this really cool like minute-long scene with Henry Cavill on a sword. I enjoy it. Season 3 is exciting. Michelle Yeoh is in The Origin, the new prequel coming out, which is just so exciting.
She's great. We all know that she is. Yeah.
I enjoyed The Witcher way more than I thought I would. And this isn't original thoughts, and not me coming up with this, but do you think, like, I guess, George, you're the only one who's watched it. Do you think it's the best video game adaptation to a movie or TV show that you can think of? Because usually they suck. Usually video games to movie or TV are trash.
Terrible. Yeah.
The Witcher's pretty highly regarded, though, just across the board.
I mean, I
can't think of a better one.
I'd have to really like look into this, but yeah, off the top of my head, based on like recent watches, Uncharted, Sonic 2, I mean, they suck.
Resident Evil.
Oh man,
the worst show I've ever seen.
The Halo show did terrible.
Yeah.
That did really bad.
Mortal Kombat was like okay, but it still wasn't good. So I'd say yes. Without doing any research on the matter, I'd say yes. The Witcher is the best video game to TV movie adaptation that I can remember seeing in the last couple of years.
I can't think of any great ones. I haven't seen The Witcher, but I can't think of any great video game adaptations. They're usually pretty awful.
It's just one of those things that needs to stop.
Yeah. Obviously, as George said, the Blood Origin, that's a December premiere. And also, we're getting Outer Banks season 3. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on that.
I'm a big Outer Banks fan.
Tyler?
I don't care if it's corny, cheesy, or whatever. The Outer Banks is such just great garbage television, and people get like upset when I say that it's like a bad show that I love watching, and people are like, dude, Outer Banks is so well loved and so liked. It's like, yeah, it's so well loved, but there's some ridiculous stuff that goes on in that show. But
it's so bad it's good. It's one of those things.
And I love the setting. Like, it's just such a good vibe, like South Carolina off the shore in the ocean. And I'm excited for season 3. The 2 main stars, Chase Stokes and Madeline Klein, were dating for the first like 2 seasons, and now I think they like hate each other. They broke up.
They don't like it,
and they can't stand each other. It's like the whole what Spider-Man tried to avoid with Peter Parker and MJ, how they always end up dating in real life with Tom Holland and Zendaya. And now they're like, hey, please don't. It could ruin the chemistry of the show. Or the movies. I'm interested to see what happens in Outer Banks season 3, because they didn't just break up. I'm pretty sure these 2 actors like hate each other. And we'll of course see Madeline Klein in a Glass Onion soon. So excited to see it.
That'll be fun. So yeah, so obviously we covered the Netflix thing. We went over all the big news on there. Antoine Fuqua's Emancipation with Will Smith, looking to release in early December on Apple TV. Obviously he did Training Day and The Equalizer, and then he also did music videos such as Gangsta's Paradise. Anyone have any thoughts on this? It looks pretty interesting.
I don't have any necessary thoughts. I think just from lack of research and news that has dropped around this, but you attach Antoine Fuqua to a picture and you are going to pay attention. Obviously, you mentioned Training Day. He's also done Olympus Has Fallen. He was a producer on Bullet Train and even 2021's The Guilty, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Really?
I didn't enjoy it.
I was about to say that in the bad category.
Oh,
I would agree with
really
Cam.
liked it, bro. I thought, I mean, Gyllenhaal's acting was sublime, and I think anytime a movie has the ability to just stay in one location and still just suck me in as much as this movie did, I'm giving you all the credit in the world.
On the opposite side, just to it stayed in one location, and the whole time I'm like, I don't give a shit about any of these people.
What did you give it, Cam? I think I give it like a 2.5. I think
Let me go find it.
I think I got a 4. Bro, the twist at the end.
I gave it a 4. I gave it a 4.5.
Have you guys seen the original though?
I gave it a 4.5 too. So
have you guys seen
45
the
out of 100?
Wait, Tyler, you gave it a 45 or a 4.5?
4.5. 4.5 stars.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Tyler speaks in such different like ratings all the time because he's also decimal system like out of 10.
I thought George had it rated pretty high because I remember when I watched it and reviewed it on Letterboxd, I was like, oh shit, George really liked this compared to a lot of the other people I've seen too.
I think it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
I think it was okay.
But going back to Emancipation, where do we kind of stand on Will Smith after last year's Oscar stunt? Because that was
couldn't care.
Funny.
That was definitely like a where were you moment because I vividly remember seeing that go down. That was insane. But it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back.
It's just one of those moments where like I'd lose all respect for this guy.
That's my only video to ever be taken down on TikTok.
Wait, why?
It was just a reaction to like him slapping Chris Rock, and they were like, "Hey, this is mean. Don't be mean." And I'm like, "I'm mean in every video." Yeah,
George, I think I misinterpreted what you said then when you said couldn't care. So so if you lost all respect?
No, I mean like I couldn't necessarily care about Will Smith anymore. Like I've lost all respect.
That's totally opposite from what I thought you were saying. Wow.
No, yeah, like I've lost. It's one of those situations where Will Smith's wife has been disrespecting him his entire life. If you can't take one genuinely funny joke, you're soft, and then you're gonna go commit assault on national television. Like,
all right, here's my problem with it. I hate when people call it assault.
Have we reversed now?
It's textbook definition assault.
It's literal assault.
Oh my god! You go to a bar anywhere, you're getting in a fight.
If I were the head of the Academy, I would have told whoever was presenting Best Actor to say Andrew Garfield. I would have never given.
He ruined his own night.
Will Smith
he did.
And then the fact that people stood up and clapped for him was just absurd.
Mental. Yeah.
I'm on the side of what you thought it was, Tyler, of couldn't care. Like it's something that happened, and I'll never like think about it again. To be honest with you, so many crazy things happen in the world.
I'm kind of with Cam, to be honest. I don't really care. Like, if he did a good film, I'll just say he did a good film.
That's such a bad excuse, though, Cam, to just say, well, there's so many crazy things that happen in the world. So like, dude punched him.
It was a slap. It was not a punch. A slap. That's why I hated whatever. It doesn't matter.
It's still assault.
I've got such a small attention span. I can barely focus on a TikTok that was made a minute ago. Like, I'm the problem. But continue. Sorry.
So we also got a release date for the sequel to Searching, which I know George thinks as well, but I think this is criminally underrated. You rarely hear anybody speaking about it, especially on TikTok. Just a fantastic film. It was emotional. It was a great screenplay. There was loads of foreshadowing leading up to a great final sequence. And I, for one, I am very, very, very excited for the sequel to this. George, I know you are as well.
I'm so excited. Searching falls very high on my all-time found footage ranking. And I know like the found footage genre doesn't necessarily have a massive sample size, but it's in my top 10. I think I have it at number 6 right now.
It might have been my top 5, to be honest. It
was such a breath of fresh air. It was such a creative and unique way of telling a found footage story just through like webcams and stuff like that.
So unique.
It wasn't genuinely like someone was holding a camera like the way the Blair Witch was. It was as if like just people's iPhones were just automatically recording. It was just, it was intoxicating. It was just this beautiful, just cluster of just stress, which I absolutely love, especially in horror and found footage. I did not know that we were even getting a sequel, honestly, until I read our podcast notes. I had no idea, and like just this massive smile came across my face. I was like, no fucking way, like this is incredible.
Have you guys seen Cam and Tyler? Have you seen that film?
I have. It was a long time. I don't have it rated. I remember it being a good film, and I forget when it came out or when I watched it. But
is it 2017? That might be wrong.
2017, 2018.
I probably saw it around 2018, and I wasn't rating like as intensely then, so I may have missed it, and I haven't watched it since. So I don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I remember.
I think it'd be pretty good.
Yeah,
I think the sequel's a really good idea. Yeah. So obviously, release date for that is February the 24th. All Quiet on the Western Front as well. Release date at the end of October. I enjoyed. We spoke about this before. I actually haven't seen the original All Quiet on the Western Front, which is probably surprising because I do love a great war film. But I think a lot of people are excited for this. The only thing that holding a lot of people back is the fact that it is a Netflix production. However, the early reviews I believe are really, really good. 3.9 on Letterboxd so far, I believe. It's done. Just the trailer looked great. If anyone saw the trailer, Cam, have you seen the trailer to this one yet?
No, I haven't watched it. You said it was a good trailer, and I'm so sorry. I just read past your message.
It looks really, really good. It looks really exciting. Ted Lasso officially confirmed to be in FIFA 23. I mean, that is a questionable decision, but I don't mind it at all. It's quite funny. Obviously, Cam likes that, even though he calls football soccer, which again is another argument. But it's one of them. Tom Hardy winning a jiu-jitsu competition, winning 3 in a row, I believe now at 36.
Like,
I mean,
back to Ted Lasso real quick. That's genius marketing.
It's genius marketing. The American fan base will be all over that.
I posted the video on TikTok, and the amount of comments that either said, I don't play FIFA, but I watch Ted Lasso, so I'm going to buy it. Or I do play FIFA, but I don't watch Ted Lasso, so now I'm going to watch Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. Yeah.
That's genius marketing.
That marketing is super smart. And I don't know if, Seth, you're more involved in or aware of this because you watch football a little more with FIFA, but FIFA is normally a pretty corrupt and archaic organization, so it's interesting to see. I know the video game is vastly different than the organization, but it's just cool to see them take a risk and do something like that. But Jason Sudeikis in their video game, whereas like FIFA, the actual organization is always criticized for being like a terrible organization.
FIFA, the game, is always criticized for being pretty
yeah, so they're spicing it up though, because that's all sports games. Everyone criticizes all sports games being the same thing over and over, so at least they're doing something different.
Like, I mean, it is just genius marketing. It brings people to the show. It brings people to the game. I mean, it's a really good
actually, I have a couple friends who are like really into FIFA, and they say anyone who actually plays FIFA isn't going to give a shit about this and isn't going to play. Isn't going to play with them at all, which was interesting to me because I was like, I don't know. It's just they were like upset about it. I was like, this is just kind of like a fun little thing.
I think I like it. It's a funny idea, but I think I agree with probably what your friends are like. No one would probably use it unless they really like the show or have come to FIFA specifically for that, because there will be people who have done that because they might like the show. So it's probably like Cam, for example.
It's cool. It's cool marketing, and we'll get back to Tom Hardy in a second. But speaking of just cool marketing for films, because have you guys seen what Smile has been doing?
Yeah. Oh my God, yes,
dude.
So
terrifying me.
Genius.
You guys all know.
I'm seeing that tomorrow.
You guys all know I'm a huge sports fan. So I was just watching baseball as I normally do, and I look behind the catcher and I see this freaking girl in a neon shirt that says Smile, freaking smiling at the camera. They're sending people to MLB games to sit behind home plate, so that means you're in the frame for 2.5 hours of a game. And they're just staring at the screen, smiling, creepy as hell.
Genius.
I don't know if they gave them something for their cheeks, because it was like an elongated smile, and I feel like you got to get tired after a while. And I hope they were paid well, because that just does not look comfortable. But I see so many TikToks now showing it, and it has all the creepy, eerie music. I'm like, dude, this is genuinely creeping me out. And like, kids watch baseball. This is like freaky to have behind. Genius marketing.
I think it's genius. It's
genius marketing, but it's genuinely creepy.
Really is.
And then I was thinking, like, what if they just paid a ton of influencers just to go out in public, and every public space there's just someone smiling? Dude, that Smile marketing A1. Good job.
Yeah, I'd like to watch that movie.
I'm seeing it tomorrow. I'm really, really excited for it. It just looks crazy.
How are you seeing it tomorrow?
How are you seeing it tomorrow?
So there's actually, I say that if anyone saw my TikTok story recently, I tried to go and watch The Woman King, which doesn't come out until October the 6th here. And the screen wasn't working on my local cinema theatre, whatever, which was kind of annoying. But tomorrow they're actually doing again, which I'm not holding out for because of what happened last time, but they are doing an early screening at Odeon, which is my local cinema for Limitless members, people who pay on a monthly basis. So I'm seeing Smile tomorrow night, which I'm really, really looking forward to. I don't actually know the actual release date in the UK. What's the release date for you?
I think it's the 30th.
This upcoming Thursday.
Next week.
The 20th.
I'm really excited for that. Obviously, I spoke about before I went into that a bit more. Tom Hardy, he is just the man, isn't he? Like, what can
completing
this man not
side
do?
quests?
Yeah, he's living life, completing side quests,
He
and
is
just
for sure
being
him.
incredibly successful at the same time. And finally, obviously, Vince Gilligan's next project will be on Apple TV. Obviously, if you don't know who that guy is, he's Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. I mean, what are we anticipating here for this?
I bet it's a drama. That's my guess.
That is a good guess.
That's all I
It's
got
good
for
character development.
you. Yeah, with good character
Great.
development. Exactly.
Vince
Written
Gilligan
well,
can do no
with
wrong
a,
in
with
a
a
lot of people's
massive
minds.
cult following as well.
Right.
Yeah,
But so it's coming to Apple TV Plus, which they're taking somewhat rare stance of a streaming service where I feel like they're going more quality over quantity. I'd say Hulu and HBO Max somewhat delve into that, whereas like Netflix and Disney Plus pop out a ton of stuff, obviously, and people are critical of them. But I think Apple TV Plus has a pretty high success rate of when they drop something. It's pretty good.
Yeah, they have a.
I mean, they got a Best Picture
pretty high
winner
success rate,
last year. They got a Best Picture winner.
Yeah.
I don't know their
Undeserved.
filmography well enough. All I know is I watched Luck this year. Not very good. But I guess TV show wise, you're probably right.
They have done some really good stuff. Like
Yeah.
definitely.
Have you guys watched C? That was their big one when they announced.
Is that the Jason Momoa?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Is that good? Oh, you haven't seen it. Okay.
No, I've never seen it, but it's got 3 seasons.
I've seen the craziest mixed reviews on that show.
Same.
Oh
Same.
my god! Like I've seen some people straight up call it the worst show they've ever seen, but I've seen some people say it's like one of the best shows of the last decade.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, it's got a good filmography. I agree.
I mean, it'll have a
I'm
cult
pro
following.
that
Probably
now.
everyone will be anticipating it. I know Ricardo will be all over that for
It's
one
gonna be
thing.
top 5 for Ricardo.
Yeah.
Top 5 before it's even released. That's what it'll be.
Better than Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So let's go on to this segment where we review what came out this week. I think we should start with Andor. I don't know if all of us have seen that. I haven't.
I didn't
Tyler,
get
you
around
haven't
to
seen
it.
it.
I think
You
it's
haven't
just
watched it?
George. Yeah.
I'm just the only one seeing it.
George, if you want to get a minute or two in reviewing
Yeah,
it.
I'll keep it very quick and very spoiler free. If you liked Rogue One, you're gonna love Andor. And I said this, I think, on our very first episode. I love the fact that there are some Star Wars projects that are coming out that are moving away from the Skywalker saga, and that's exactly what Rogue One basically did. That's what Andor did. Andor, it felt very raw. It felt very gritty. It's a Star Wars movie, so you could expect just beautiful production, beautiful costume design. We've only gotten 3 episodes so far, and from those 3, I'm in. I'm locked in. I think they're really solid writing. I am in love with Diego Luna as this character. I think he's doing a very good job. I like the idea of, and if I run just on a rant, just tell me to stop. But I just love the idea that we're seeing a side of the rebellion that isn't all like sunshine and rainbows. I think that's one of the downfalls of like the original trilogy. And Cam, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but
Not Empire, of course.
Not Empire, but especially Return of the Jedi. But I think the idea that good guys have to make bad decisions, good guys have to do bad things. We saw it in Rogue One. Like the first time we saw Diego Luna, he killed someone in Rogue One. And I think that's the idea of seeing a side of the rebellion that isn't necessarily fun. It is a really fantastic exploration of this universe because there's a ton that we could explore with just that one brief storyline. And that is my quick spoiler-free rant of Andor.
I've watched an episode and Darth Vader didn't show up, so I turned it off. It's bullshit.
Okay, bro.
There was no R2D2 kissing C3PO. I'm out. But no, I did watch the first episode. It was good.
It's sad because I've actually seen, and I know you're making a joke, but like not to harp on this show, but I've actually seen TikToks of people saying there were no Easter eggs, there was no callback to the original trilogy. How are they dropping this without all of these?
The worst part of Rogue One is when they pan over and it's like a ship is flying out and it's C3PO and R2D2 in your face, and it's like, what are we? They're not doing anything. They're just here.
They're just there for the sake of being.
All right, I'm sorry.
Onto the so, don't worry, darling. We all got a chance to watch it this week. Thank you, UK, for actually releasing a film on time for once. That was great.
Just a quick question: are we keeping this spoiler free?
I was just about to mention that. Yeah. So I think we spoke about it, and it is difficult because I think a lot of this film, when you're reviewing it, it's quite hard to not go into spoilers. did speak about some people asked for spoiler free, some people asked for spoilers. I think we'll start off by just doing a quick thoughts, and then if we really want to, we can go into some spoilers. So obviously we'll mention that now. Obviously read the synopsis we're not going into already. But I mean, coincidentally, we all actually had it around the same ranking. We all give it around the sort of 3 out of 5 mark on Letterboxd, around sort of 6 out of 10. I don't know who wants to go first with this. I will just say that I enjoyed it. However, I'll go into it in a second, but there was definitely a lot of issues. So I think we can all say that. First thing I want to say, though, Harry Styles was not that bad. I think that's the first thing I want to get out there. He wasn't that bad. He wasn't.
Will you read the synopsis before we get into it, just so like people who may not want to watch it just know what's going on? I think we should do that before.
Yeah, sure. Sorry. So obviously, Don't Worry, Darling. Obviously, synopsis start is a 1950s housewife living with her husband. Obviously, the housewife played by Florence Pugh, husband played by Harry Styles. In a utopian experimental community, begins to worry that his glamorous company may be hiding disturbing secrets. And yeah, who wants to go into it first? Because we all had a similar opinion on it.
And all right. Well, I have a little prologue before I go into it. So I just want to mention this. So I went and saw this on Thursday with my wife. She enjoyed it a whole lot more than me. Like she really liked it. And as we talked about it more, like there were obviously a lot of themes in this movie, and I'll try not to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil anything. A lot of themes in this movie that like she has to deal with a lot more, like the man, basically like needing to be this breadwinner of the family, the woman sitting back. There are a lot of themes in this movie that she like really felt impacted by and hit home. Hopefully not because of me. And
I was gonna say, where are you going with this?
Yeah, exactly. Not because of me, I don't think, but you can ask her. Maybe some past relationships, things like that. So obviously, like you could take my review with like a grain of salt if you want. I don't have to deal with a whole lot of things that go on in this movie. That being said, I don't think it's great. I don't think it's a great movie. Everything about this movie kind of felt middle of the road. And we talked about it. You mentioned it, Harry Styles. I think for 90% of this movie, he's actually really quite good. He like does a good job. I think it's the 10% of the movie that he really needs to act is where he struggles. It's the clip going around on YouTube or on TikTok. I don't know why that is the only point in the movie that it lingers on him. In a moment of silence, it lingers on him, and he really just needs to not do a frowny face. And
not do a frowny face.
Exactly. And it's things like that where I think like I this is gonna be my nice way of saying I don't think he did amazing. I think this was a hard role for him to be his very first role. Like
big role.
He said he's not an actor. He was struggling. Everyone else was kind of doing a lot better than him, and it's pretty apparent. Like Florence Pugh is. She's my second favorite actor of all time. She's incredible. She bounces around him. Like she's so much better than him.
It's hard to, if you're going to do a role, some people are saying he's miscast because obviously playing, a role next to Florence Pugh, who is incredibly good at a woman losing her sanity. Like as we've seen in Midsommar, she's just a brilliant actress. I think that does make it look like Harry's a lot worse. But I think a lot of people are just saying it's bad because it's Harry Styles. Whereas most films that you watch probably have worse acting than Harry was doing here. Yeah. Tyler, I know you were quite open about saying that Harry Styles, you thought he was pretty good as well.
Yeah, so again, completely echo what Cam said. Like 90% of the movie, I thought he was quite good. 10% wasn't the greatest, but I didn't find it to be awful. However, one thing my girlfriend did say, like right when we walked out of the theater, she's like, I thought Harry Styles was very good. Shia LaBeouf would have been better in this role, though. I mean, obviously, there's a whole casting snafu. Yeah. So from a girl's perspective, who obviously, girls love Harry Styles, right away, the first thing she said, she's like, Shia LaBeouf would have absolutely crushed that.
Yeah, I mean, George, you look like you want to say something here about Shia.
Yeah, that was literally the first thing I said to Victoria when we walked out of the theater was Shia LaBeouf would have absolutely bodied this role because I think he could have pulled off that like suave, like husband kind of 50s look. And then not getting into spoilers, but he could have also pulled off what we needed to see at the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. I don't think Harry was bad. I think when Harry was very reserved and just having conversations with his co-stars, it was fine. It was just the points where he had to genuinely act and like scream at Florence Pugh, where I was like, he's like
That's the issue.
really like Florence Pugh acts, and it feels so natural. It doesn't look like she's acting. It looks like she's genuinely having a panic attack on screen. Harry, I was like, okay, he's trying to act. Like he is trying his very hardest right now to act, and it just doesn't feel natural. And then also, I was telling Victoria this. Harry Styles is too big of a name to just bring into a movie and try to make me forget about the fact that he's Harry Styles. Like the entire movie, I was like, that's Harry Styles. Like, that's not Jack or whatever his character's name was. I was like, that's Harry Styles. Like, just call him Harry Styles. Florence Pugh does such a good job at just meshing with these roles that she's given, where it's like, I forget that that's Florence Pugh, you know?
Is that something that bothers you guys often? Is like when a big name like Tyler mentioned it earlier, when Jake Gyllenhaal is doing voice acting, it's hard to forget that it's Jake Gyllenhaal when Harry Styles is on screen. Like that's never something that's upset me. It's just like I don't know. I know they're actors. Like I don't know.
It doesn't upset me because like at this point, like there's that like Leonardo DiCaprio. Like it's obviously Leo, but like he's such a good actor where like I forget it's Leo. The thing, and I'll bring this back to the whenever they cast a new James Bond, I don't want them to cast like Henry Cavill or Tom Hardy because they are well-known actors whose faces I know. I want them to cast a no-name who I'm gonna look at and think James Bond.
Interesting. Okay.
It doesn't really bother me when it's an actor or a great actor. It's more just like a Harry Styles or someone who's not been in acting long, who may have been just famous for other things, and they go into it. I do know what George means. I do look at him and think that's Harry Styles and not Jack. I know a lot of people said the same thing, but yeah, I mean, like the main issue I had with the film in general was that I don't know about you guys, but I felt like the first 90 minutes they just revealed way too much, which led up to a final sequence of trying to put some shocks in there. Obviously, I won't say much, but I just feel like they revealed way too much early. That just made the final sequence fairly anticlimactic. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
I found it very predictable. So yeah, I agree. The two big twists, or I guess the one big twist, but I feel like it was pretty like 30 minutes in. I was like, okay, I see where they're going with this. So
yeah, exactly.
That part of it kind of annoyed me because I was like, whereas like I think some people can see it and just enjoy it at face value and not look into it and get it spoiled if you're just watching it and not really trying to focus on, oh, where's this going? But I found it pretty predictable.
Yeah, I don't think I guessed. I definitely didn't guess like what exactly was happening, but you figure out the general idea that's happening. I don't know if Tyler, you knew like exactly what was happening, but also there's like one thing that happens at the very end that I'm like, it's not like a main plot point, but I was like, oh, I think this is gonna happen at some point. And I don't know. I kind of agree with you guys that it wanted to have a lot of twists, and it almost felt like they just kind of added them in at the end,
just to try and promote, to try and give that like shock value, so you maybe think it's a better film than it actually is potentially. I don't know. I just think it revealed too much. I mean, George, did you feel the same way, or did you feel a bit different about
it? I guess this is where like we're opposite on this. I thought the first like act and a half was like genuinely good filmmaking. Like I was locked in. I was like, where the fuck is this film going? Maybe I'm just stupid, but I had no idea that like that was going to be the twist. But then when that ending happened, I was like, okay, this didn't feel necessarily rewarding. Like this felt too, Truman Show-esque, where it's like, oh, there's an outside presence that's like not detectable, and it's like, if that's too spoilery, we can cut that out. By the way,
no, I don't think that's too spoilery.
I don't think it's spoilery at all.
No.
But I think my biggest problem was with the film was just how bland it felt. There was so much potential in so many side characters that just went nowhere. There's so much potential in like Florence Pugh's character that just kind of went nowhere. I actually like what happened with Harry's character. I will say that. I think
I did.
Like how he ended,
like how he ended, like his backstory, why he was doing what he was doing. Like I genuinely enjoyed that aspect of the movie. I think that was an intriguing character.
Yeah.
The whole movie just felt very shallow. It felt very bland. It felt very trying to imitate past different film classic.
Yeah.
So this movie is pretty difficult to talk about without spoilers. So I figure once we're done with our thoughts here, we'll start a spoiler section, and we have right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, Spotify, wherever, no matter where you're watching it, in the description there's timestamps. You can jump to everything. Yeah. So it's gonna say in big and bold, saying like spoiler discussion of Don't Worry Darling starts now. Spoiler discussion ending of Don't Worry Darling ends now. So
Ends
if you haven't
now,
seen it,
yeah.
don't want it to be spoiled. But I'll let you guys finish up your overall thoughts before we jump into the spoiler portion.
I thought Chris Pine was great. I wish we had more Chris Pine. I thought he was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
he
So
was
good.
great. Every time he was on screen, I was locked. I
Same.
loved his. Like I go on, Cam.
No, just last point before, like, this is my last non-spoiler point. Olivia Wilde obviously has that very iconic clip that was going around a ton. If a movie's bad, it's the director's fault. I argued the directing in this movie was good. Like, I actually really liked the directing of this movie. Like, the shots that were taken is a lot of cinematography, but also
Visually,
directing,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Visually,
It's the screenplay that let us down.
The
Exactly.
score was
I
also
agree with
very
that.
good, very chilling.
I was just about to say the score was great. It was like really original. Like there was some scenes where it really made it much more intense. The score was really
A lot of
really
like
good.
opera, like choirs of people kind of just chanting.
It's
Very
weird.
eerie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very eerie. Yeah.
And then last point is where the fuck is Nick Kroll in this movie?
Yeah.
Why was
What
it?
I
is
said
he
that.
doing there,
yeah.
man? So miscast, dude. He's
Okay, see, I don't think. Okay, can we get into spoilers? Because I don't think.
Spoilers.
Spoilers are
No.
starting now.
Yeah,
Okay,
great.
Spoilers are starting right now. So it comes to fruition that Harry's character is like this down on his luck, deadbeat.
What
They
do
made
you
him
call
look
it?
bad too.
The idea that Nick
Incel,
Kroll in the
incel.
outside world is like he has that persona where it's like he can pull off this suave 1950s character, but like you look at Nick Kroll and you're like, oh, this is trash. Like he could pull off like that trashy outside world character that would be doing this type of thing.
Dude, Nick Kroll.
Yeah.
Nick Kroll had so many scenes that I thought were just very bad because what he would do is he'd do those very serious things when he's talking to people that are new into the world. But it's one of those things where like, oh, he's about to say like, just kidding or whatever, but he's not, and he's like so serious. Like,
Yeah,
like,
I know
you don't
exactly
need
what
to know
scene
about
you're
Jack,
talking about.
and he's just staring at them. And like, oh, where's it? And then he's gonna be like, just kidding. And he's just staring at him like, seriously, like, this is bad.
Yeah, I thought that when that scene happened. Actually, I didn't get it at all. Did anyone else think that like it was going to be more of a, obviously we're in spoilers now, more of a physical world? That was like what I got going. I wanted that. I think I wanted more of a Truman Show kind of esque world when I went in. That for me kind of
rather than
the
all in their mind.
Yeah, that kind of dampened the enjoyability for me personally. But that's just obviously my preference.
But it also, I mean, Tyler, I'm going to let you take over after I'm done saying this because you brought this up. There were so many plot holes in this movie,
so
and
many.
The one that Tyler mentioned that really stood out to me was if they're literally just lying down in bed, why can't they just shut themselves off? Like, why can't someone shut down Harry? Why can't someone shut down Florence's character?
I have what I think is the answer. I think it's more like all Harry did is just sign up for this thing. He wasn't like, hey, I'm at this location. You know, I don't know. In my opinion, like obviously it could be a plot hole or it could be like an explained.
I don't know.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. I thought when you mentioned a plot hole, I was like, I don't know. They're just at their home. No one knows where they live, kind of thing.
No. Here we go. I got to go on a little rant here about spoilers.
All right.
They show that Florence Pugh is a 20-hour straight working MD, top of the hospital doctor. If she's gone, they're going to know
Someone's
it.
checking.
Speaking of that, all of these people are just bodies that are there for seemingly weeks. So first off, why does no one know they're missing? Second off, is Harry Styles feeding them? Is he giving them water? Like, how are they alive? Third of all, we'll jump into that. Go ahead, George. Sorry.
Just one thing I'm going to say to the whole Florence Pugh's occupation. Victoria brought this up. She is a doctor. They call her doctor, not nurse. Like
doctor. Yeah.
Why do they have money problems?
Yes,
they got student loans out the ass. You know, I mean,
by the time you're an MD doctor, you are rolling in it.
I don't argue with that. And that's kind of something I asked, but I don't have any MD doctor friends. I have pharmacy friends who also make a lot of money, but they also pay a lot for school. So they're kind of like, I mean, obviously I'm only 2 years post-grad and I know a couple people who like, they still have money problems just for how much they, but maybe by the time they're 30, 40, I don't know where they'll be at. Like at some point you hit, like you make so much that you like, are getting rid of that that student debt. And I don't know, you know, the world gets you sometimes. She's paying for a incel husband. Like,
the money issue didn't bother me. Anyone can have money issues. Like it did bother me how no one is checking up on anyone in the, like people wouldn't know. Like it just didn't make sense. Like But the money thing, everyone can have a money issue, can't they? It doesn't like.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I get what Tyler's saying with that. Yeah.
One decision that they made at the end I really disliked was Chris Pine's wife turning on him. I feel like the point was the theme was
me.
Women taking back their power. But if you think about this world that Chris Pine built, because he's the architect of this world, it's not something he can just drum up in his office one day and make. This has got to be something he's worked on for years. This is his passion. This is his business venture. His wife would have to be all in on her. Otherwise, she would divorce him and leave him. Like, she's not going to be through him with the whole creation of this company through all these years and then just be like, yeah, I'm turning on you and killing you.
Yeah, I'm turning on you.
Very
this
forced.
Is your turn
Very
to not have a life. Kind of.
To that point,
very forced. Another's trying.
One thing I just didn't understand was if you die in the virtual world, you die in the real world. Why?
I mean, that, to be fair, that's a plot of a million different
films.
movies.
I just don't understand it.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I don't know.
but like in Ready Player One, you die in the Oasis. You don't die in the real world.
You love Ready
the idea.
Player One, don't you?
I do love Ready
I think
Player
the idea, like, have you guys ever heard if you die in a dream, you die in real life? I think that's kind of the idea. I've heard that before, but like, I don't know why.
It's not like Chris Pine's character got stabbed in real life. Like, it was just like his avatar that got, like, why can't when he gets stabbed in the virtual world, why can't he just take off his eye shit and just be like, oh?
The only reason that doesn't bother me is because that's in so many films.
Yeah,
like it's never explained. Yeah. But back to Tyler's point. Sorry, Cal.
No, you go.
The part where the wife, it was just another thing that was just in there to try and shock value. I don't. It maybe it shocked everyone, but in the complete wrong way. It just like went against everything the film was about. I just think that was such a pointless scene that didn't need to be in there at all.
They were at the dinner table scene, the big scene where Florence and Chris Pine just kind of go at it. And Chris Pine's wife, Gemma Chan, in the film just kept staring at Florence. Like the entire time I was watching the scene, I was like, oh, she's going to get up and she's going to defend Florence. Like she knows that Chris Pine's doing something wrong. And then she starts defending Chris Pine. And I was like, this feels a little out of place. So then when she ended up stabbing Chris Pine, I was like, that's just.
So that's actually.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't feel rewarding because I wasn't necessarily on her side. Like I wasn't on Chris Pine's
Who cares?
side.
Who cares?
Yeah.
That's actually the point that, like I said, I saw that coming because the dinner scene, like she seemed so. I was like, she's gonna kill Chris Pine at some point during this movie.
I didn't predict that. To be fair,
that's the part that I actually did think about. Also, just like going back to what I said initially, like this whole movie is very much based on the fact that like Florence Pugh is obviously the breadwinner, but she works 30 hours. So Harry Styles thinks she's so upset, but she says like that's what she likes to do. She likes her job. Harry Styles feels the need to, and it's said multiple times during the movie, feels the need to I keep saying breadwinner, but feels the need to be the breadwinner. He goes out. So the twist is like every day he leaves the fantasy land for work and he makes money to stay in it. And to your point, Tyler, I think it's just kind of like, while I don't think it's done well, I think the point is like at one point or another, maybe she had some idea, but like Chris Pine induced Gemma Chan into this world and she didn't really know what was going on, but maybe she was starting to feel. And that's another thing. I don't think they fleshed out that character enough to like see that she's learning, hey, I've been captured here. It was also interesting. And another thing they didn't explain with like, why is does Nick Kroll know he's in this universe or not?
That was a weird one. Yeah,
Olivia Wilde is the one who put him there, unless they both agreed and this kind of hit pretty close to home, just having a kid. They lost their kids at one point, but here in this universe, their kids are alive. So I don't know if both
that
of
would
them
be my
were
interpretation. Yeah,
they didn't really describe it, but I think it's again just something I like. Anyone's allowed to take my review with a grain of salt, but obviously I think the whole point was Harry Styles like thought he was doing the right thing to an extreme to where he's captured this doctor. But like you guys said, how's the doctor missing work?
The last thing I want to say is that I do want to watch the film that is apparently very similar to is obviously the Stepford Wives, which is a 70s or 80s horror film, I believe. So I do want to watch that and draw comparisons from that. But again, I think we all had a pretty similar opinion on this. It wasn't a bad film. It wasn't a bad film. No. It was a decent film, but it had a lot of screenplay issues.
35% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
Yeah.
What's everyone's
score?
What
is 35% like on Rotten Tomatoes? Do you know what I mean? It's like I just said tomatoes. But like it's Rotten Tomatoes is one of those things we spoke about this before, but like I don't know. I thought it was a decent film. That's it. I think it was a decent
What's
film.
everyone's score? I have it as 63.
It would be
3 out of 5, so
yeah,
I'll
like
go-
a 6 out of 10.
I'll go
6 out of
60
10.
to 65.
6.1.
Okay, so I liked it the most apparently, but
No,
What
wait,
did you
didn't you
think,
just say? Oh wait, you had a higher?
63.
All
Point.
right.
But that
Three
might
point.
be mine.
Yeah,
I
no,
want
yeah.
to differentiate.
I was just saying.
Two minor things about the movie that I wonder if you guys knew what was going on or could explain it. So first off, all the earthquakes, is that just like Harry Styles opening the door coming home from work, you think, and slamming the door shut?
I think it
like
was
shakes?
it was the plane crashes. I
The
think.
plane crash.
Okay, well then what's the plane crash?
Which was not
Yeah,
explained. Which was not explained. So
That's one of the biggest issues I had about this movie is they threw so many like smoke and mirrors to try and make you think it was a real world, like the plane crash, the earthquakes, and then I feel like by going to the VR world, it's just like, why were you were just doing all that just to mislead us? There wasn't actually any purpose. There was no explanation. I had no clue what the plane was like, or the earthquakes.
I don't really want to draw comparisons here because I had, not to say that it wasn't a better film. I had similar issues with this that I had with Nope, to be honest, in terms of how much they tried to throw in. And that's not to say that, okay, Nope is a better film. Like, it is. And it's a better screenplay. And I might just be too stupid to understand Nope. But don't worry, darling, I had similar issues in which that things were not explained to the depth that they could have been, and I just didn't understand certain things. I think that's my,
I think the difference, and I'm going to defend Nope for my life because I think it's such a good movie. Don't Worry, Darling threw a lot of things at us, the plane crash, the earthquakes, that one, didn't get explained, but two, it just left us confused.
Yeah.
Whereas Nope threw a lot of stuff at us, the shoe, the
monkey,
the coin in the head, the monkey. They didn't necessarily have explanations, but there were so many potential interpretations of these things that made it interesting. Whereas these things that were thrown at us in Don't Worry, Darling just kind of ruined the experience.
Yeah.
If I'm making sense here.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, it was a decent film. Has anyone else got anything to cover in terms of Don't Worry, Darling? Are we all...
I have one very small point, and the only reason I bring it up is it's in a commercial, and I saw it last night when I was at a bar, so I can't really, I wasn't watching enough. I swear to God, in the scene where the wall is enclosing on her in the window, I swear to God, and someone please go find this for me. There is a picture in the background that is not Florence Pugh. It is a stand-in actor that they had with Harry Styles, and it's not Florence Pugh. And I was watching it because that scene goes on for a while, and I'm watching it. I'm like, that's not her. It doesn't take anything away. I just
listening to the
podcast.
I just listen to the podcast. Wants to do some like research, maybe.
I think it's in the commercial. I think it's in the commercial for the movie. Is her getting pushed against that wall or against that window? So please tell me if I'm right or wrong. I swear it's not her.
And one more thing for me, I think Harry Styles in the real world was good acting.
Dude,
yeah, I do. I said that. I think he was better. He was better with an American accent than he was.
No, if that's a hot take, I think he pulled off the American accent. I think he pulled off this just piece of shit, rugged-looking guy really well. It also
they made him look bad.
They did. They made him look really. That's a hard thing to do.
Real life. I think he's bald in real life, and this just elevated my thought of that.
Yeah. One final thing for me. I'm sorry we keep going on with this, but this movie had so many plot holes. But what bothered me is Olivia Wilde and like the way this movie was done paid attention to detail. So the in the real world or like in the virtual reality world, it's supposed to be 1950s housewives-esque. If you saw when she was a doctor, her name tag said Alex, and then in the 1950s, that's not really a common housewife name of the old days, so he switches it to Alice. So I feel like that's such a small detail that they added in there and caught. So it's like, how can you do all these small details and leave such huge plot holes at the same time?
Huge plot holes. Yeah.
You also have to understand, and I'm going to come to Olivia Wilde's defense, I guess. This is her sophomore outing, and her first one is just a very simple coming-of-age film.
And it's great.
This is a massive step. Yeah, and Booksmart is great.
Which she said
it's good. It's good. It's good.
But this is just, that's beyond the point. My point is, this is such a crazy step for her to take, considering how inexperienced she is.
I appreciate how bold it is. Yeah.
Which she said she wanted to do, because she said if I ever get a chance to direct another movie, I'm pulling out all the stops and making it like a big blockbuster, like big event. So she said that after Booksmart came out. So props to her for attempting.
Also, So I'm so sorry. We can move on because I think George. I'm so sorry. Also, I was talking to my wife about this, and I just wanted to mention again. We made note that this movie has a lot of themes that like women have to deal with, and then she went and paid Florence Pugh less. So what are you doing, Olivia Wilde?
Boom.
I'm out.
That's the best way to end that discussion.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think
Villain
we covered
draft.
everything there. Yeah, but let us know your thoughts on the film. Obviously, we all think they're pretty much the same. But yeah, so now we are moving on to the game of the week, chosen by myself. Everyone asked for another movie draft, so that's absolutely fine. We're going to do movie villains, specifically movie villains, so not including any TV shows.
Why?
Whatever.
Oh,
No.
No,
We
we
made this.
clarified that.
I said
We
this
clarified this
three
twice.
times.
son of a
No,
bitch.
Common
You,
camo.
twice.
so you asked me. Movie villains.
We
I just
clarified this.
assume it's a media villain.
No,
every
he
time.
clearly said movies,
No,
and we
I
asked
said
several
movie
times
3
too.
times.
I asked this yesterday.
So Cam doesn't read. Right, okay. So movie villain draft is going to be 5 rounds again. I randomly selected the order as we did last week, and I am last again, which is great. So Tyler is first, Cam is second, George, and then myself.
I did like that message, but again, you didn't say like movie, not TV. You didn't say. I need the clarification. That's fine. I'm good. I'm
Right.
ready.
So we've got
ready.
Tyler first.
Okay.
Give us your first villain, my friend.
So I have the first pick, and I think Darth Vader is the greatest villain of all time. But since I am lesser on Star Wars than most people, especially Cam, I'm going to be nice, and I'm not going to take Darth Vader purely because I'm giving it to Cam.
What's the point of the draft?
Because I'm your friend. I'm picking Joker first.
I mean, I would have been happy with either, but that's like saying like, this football player who's the best of all time is from New York, so I'm going to give him to the Jets.
I'll beat him. I'll beat
like-
you still. Don't worry.
I'm
got
going
last
Darth
place.
Vader. It's
Okay.
just a lock. It's a lock of the week.
I mean, I can't believe you didn't take Vader.
Yeah, I mean, but here's what
Cam
I'll say,
hates me,
'cause
so I'm trying to
thought
get some
about
good
that.
grace.
Yeah, I
Jesus.
appreciate that.
Um,
Joker's the better acting performance.
Yeah.
but Vader's
Yeah,
the
I mean,
better
obviously.
villain.
Well, obviously.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I'll also be nice because I think I know what Seth wants. So I'm gonna take the most iconic horror villain of all time at number 3, Michael Myers.
You do know what I want, don't you? I was
I
thinking
do.
about that.
You're gonna take
Yeah.
Sauron, right?
No.
Oh,
Oh,
who are you taking?
No. I'm taking Anton Chigurh.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
You also
I was
you have 2 picks. You have 2 picks. To be fair.
Okay. The second one's not going to be Sauron either. I think he's a great villain, but I think if you compare it, I'm a Lord of the Rings fan
Interesting.
massively, but I don't. I'm going to take Nurse Ratched because R.I.P.
Rest
And
in
I
peace.
think he was a
Pick.
fantastic,
I like that pick a lot.
fantastic villain.
Did you guys, not to get off topic, did you watch Ratched, that limited series?
No, was it any good?
It's so good. It's so good.
it's that American Horror Story person playing her, right? Or
Sarah Paulson, yeah.
Yeah, Sarah Paulson.
So
So
she's
good.
great. She's really good. Yeah,
She's great in everything.
she is. I agree. Tyler?
Wait,
No, it's
isn't it
back
George?
to
No, it's back to you.
it's back
No,
to you.
I did too. I did too.
Yeah, so then it's George, Cam, then me.
George.
Oh, right.
yeah,
I'm gonna
sorry,
go the best MCU villain, Thanos.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a
Yeah,
good one.
I get that.
Cameron.
Oh, it's me. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm going with last week, I believe I should have won.
God.
People might
Here we
disagree,
go.
but this week I'm going a little more. I'm looking for that victory. So if people just see my list, they're thinking this guy's the winner. So we're going with Sauron.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, I will build off what Cam just said because I'm going for one that when you look at the graphic, this is a pick a lot of people will agree with. Even if I don't really want to pick him here, I'm doing it for the votes. Voldemort.
Shit.
That was one
yeah.
of mine. Yeah,
Yeah,
he does get beaten by a teenager, which is
He'll get the
a
votes.
little embarrassing. It's
Man couldn't even take over a high school.
Oh, I get another pick, right?
Yeah.
You do.
Hans Landa and Glorious
Oh,
Bastards.
yeah.
fuck.
That was my next one. That was my next one.
That's why I didn't need to pick
actually,
Darth
like,
Vader
I'm
first because I'm
actually,
winning.
upset about that.
Come
you're
on.
bad.
Tyler's got some.
Oh,
good picks here.
man.
I'm so mad about that.
Just wait till my next one. It's Cam's turn.
I didn't like. I have a list. I
Oh
just.
my
I
God.
really thought I was getting Hans Landa.
Yeah, that ruined my
I
day.
really
that was
thought
my
I
next one.
getting
Was that
Hans
all our
Landa.
next ones?
That was my next one.
That was my next one.
No. So I'm going with it's the T1000, right?
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
he T? That's T2, the Terminator 2.
Yeah.
That's a dope
I haven't seen
villain.
it.
obviously. Wait, you haven't seen it?
That was in the first episode.
No, this right. This T-1000 is the second movie, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I haven't seen it.
It's obviously played by what's his name? Robert Patrick. Good villain. God, I wanted Hans Landa.
I wanted Hans Landa.
Yeah, I know. You're such a bitch.
George.
I'm gonna go with a sleeper pick here from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, I was gonna take that next. Great pick.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Beautiful.
Oh damn. I'm gonna go Jack Torrance.
Okay.
I'll take that.
God, you're such a classic movie guy.
I'm surprised. Pick your one, Seth, before I say something.
Why is it? Are you thinking it's gonna be?
It's someone I'm surprised you haven't taken yet.
For the fourth pick, I'm gonna go Amy Dunn.
Now, I think I know who you're talking about, George. And
Who are you talking about? Are you gonna use it?
I'm gonna take it, and I'm surprised you haven't picked Hannibal Lecter yet.
Oh, that's not who I thought he was going to take.
It's
good pick.
I guess, yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Is it me? I'm gonna go with. Man, kind of bummed now. I just. Ooh, I have like a.
Amy Dunn is a good pick.
Amy Dunn was a really good pick. I kind of wanted her as well.
I really thought that was gonna be like my sleeper fifth pick.
No, I best be winning this. I've got a good one here. I did terribly last time. No one voted for me.
Oh, that's tough, man.
Come on, Cam.
So I'm going. Sorry, I'm thinking about this way too much. I'm gonna go with Calvin Candy.
That was a good one.
I had that on my list. Yeah,
he's a very good villain.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
Oh man, I have a few I want to choose here, but we'll pick up a horror one. We'll take Jigsaw.
I like that.
I didn't have that on my list, to be fair.
I did have that. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Oh, and I got another one.
Yeah, you got one.
Oh, there's two avenues I want to go down here. I'm gonna definitely want to go over honorable mentions, but my last one, I'll take Scar from Lion King.
Damn,
I didn't even have that.
That's a very good.
I like it.
Yeah, I didn't even have that one.
I am gonna go with
the bear from Toy Story 3.
Yes, damn near. I almost. So one plan that I had was.
I'm surprised you haven't taken that yet.
No, one thing I was gonna do is somehow like incorporate Ezra Miller into every draft.
For God's sake.
Say they're like the villain of the world right now or something, but I won't do that. I'm gonna go with Loki. Loki's a great villain. I think one of the no, take that back. I'm going with Killmonger, who I believe to be the second best villain.
Who's that?
Have you seen Black Panther yet?
That's next. That's tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, so
I'll let you know how he is. Yeah,
it's Michael B. Jordan, and
I've seen it. That's fine.
Yeah.
George.
Okay.
I have like so many. Just like, I'm just gonna keep my streak. You know what? I'm gonna go Tyler Durden. Do we consider
that's such a you
pick? We consider him a villain?
I think he's a hard one. He is a yeah.
All right, I'm going to change my pick to John Doe.
No, don't include him. I specifically didn't make it, so I wouldn't include because it's who plays him.
Yeah, no, I mean you can just take the villain, but That's fine, but obviously not a good person.
All right. I'm going to go Hans Gruber from Die Hard.
God, you just picked three.
I'm going Hans Gruber.
Alan Rickman.
That's fine.
Okay, I'll go.
That's a good one. It's a good one.
I'll go Norman Stansfield from Leon. I think that's Gary Oldman's best performance.
All right,
not the Norman I thought you were going with.
Yeah, I swore you were going with Norman Bates.
Yeah.
I do have him.
I have him on my list too.
You love black and white old movies.
Let's get a recap of all of our picks, and then we'll go into honorable mentions because I think we got a few.
So I've got Tyler. You had Joker, Voldemort, Hans Landa, Jigsaw, and Scar. Cam, Vader, Sauron, T-1000, Calvin Candy, and what was your final one? Sorry,
Killmonger.
Yeah, that's the one. George, you had what's the thing called from 2001? I can never remember it.
HAL 9000.
HAL 9000. Michael Myers, Thanos, and Hannibal Lecter. Did you have another one there as well?
Hans Gruber.
Hans Gruber. That one didn't sound. And then I had Anton Chigurh, Nurse Ratched, Jack Torrance, Amy Dunn, and Norman Stansfield. Obviously, as usual, we'll put out any votes. I'm pretty confident with this one.
I think Cam's going to take this. I hate to say it. Vader and Sauron. I think a lot of people are just going to see that and immediately click
eat it up.
yes.
Hey, eat it up.
No.
Eat it up, folks.
What are some honorable mentions people had? I had Kaiser Sose
Palpatine.
from Usual Suspects.
Okay,
Green
that's a good
Goblin.
Why didn't
Yeah.
Emperor Palpatine? Why did no one say him?
Vader just trumps him so
Yeah.
He
hard,
does,
you
but
know,
he's like the one, isn't he? So I thought someone would have him because of
but Vader's just better.
he is. I see.
Pennywise.
I had
the Immortan Joe just because I watched Mad Max like yesterday.
I had,
No one said Gollum.
Yeah, I had
Yeah,
Gollum
I
on
wasn't-
there. Gollum was always like, if no one picks him, and maybe
yeah.
I need something. You know, he's never up there though.
Yeah.
He's never
I had
that guy.
Alex
from Clockwork Orange.
Yes,
That's quite niche.
I mean, that dude's
Yeah.
a shit person.
That's a villain. That's
Yeah.
a straight villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lotso, I actually had on Lotso. Is Lotso? I had him on there as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one.
Oh,
I
that's a
didn't
good
say-
villain, man.
I'm surprised.
I think
I'm honestly surprised Cam did not pick that.
I wish I didn't go with that one. I wish I went with that
This
one.
week I kept it casual.
Because you didn't
Maybe next
prepare
week we'll-
correctly.
Yeah, because you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Who did you have on your list from TV?
True.
Oh well, I had like Vecna. He's a really
Okay.
great one. I had God, I can't think of his name. Wade Wilson from Arrow. These people probably wouldn't have made the list. I don't know. I just like when we go.
I think the
TV route.
only one I would have picked for TV would be Gus Fring.
Oh,
Yeah,
Personally.
same,
yeah,
yeah.
and then I also had Kingpin from Daredevil,
Okay.
Vincent D'Onofrio. That one probably would have made the list, to be honest with you.
I also had Freddy Krueger and Kylo Ren on my list.
I had Leatherface on mine actually. Leatherface would have been a good one. All the horror ones.
Yeah, you could have gone Jason.
I didn't know if you guys were gonna add like any pure horrors like Michael Myers, because like I don't know.
I said Michael Myers. That was
George
my
I
first
know
pick.
you did. That was your first pick. I didn't know if he'd get added at
Ah,
all. He's
yeah.
obviously a villain, but I don't know.
I mean, he's
in
the most
the horror.
iconic horror villain ever.
I think Leatherface is more iconic.
Then Michael Myers?
Maybe not. Maybe iconic. I think he's better. I prefer Leatherface. I don't know.
I think you're on crack.
I don't know. I think Michael Myers takes it so easily.
Right. I think that is
I think you
everything.
could argue Freddy Krueger over Michael Myers, but I still think that's an outlandish argument.
Yeah, maybe.
Leatherface is probably a scarier villain.
I would fold very quickly.
I'd fold very quickly with any of them. I think
Yeah.
we all would.
I'd fold
But I
quickly
think
if
we're
George walked
going
up to me.
down like the biggest.
Yeah,
Right, so I think we've covered everything as usual. Thank you everyone for listening. As always, please vote on who won the draft. Who won the draft, and everything like that. Just let us know. Obviously, give us feedback as usual. Subscribe to our channel. Notifications on for YouTube. Follow us on all our platforms. We really appreciate the listens, and we will speak to you next week.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Peace out.
See ya.